Namaste everyone. Namaste to all the masters, all the souls, all my gods and all my friends. Thank you so much for coming here today to learn more about ourselves. We are here to learn about ourselves. And each and every master here is uh, making a revelation as to how to delve more deeper into ourselves and know about ourselves and master ourselves. And that is the reason I have come up with a subject called Mastery of Soul, wherein we will learn how to master ourselves and what is this soul all about. So, without any further delay, I would like to start off my presentation um, with your due permission.
Yes, madam, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Right. Thank you so much. And here we are going to start learning about our soul. And this particular subject has been taken from Human Nature, written by Torquem Serradini. Uh, getting disturbance. Can somebody mute?
Please, whoever is not speaking, please go on mute, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So the ageless wisdom teaches us that in order to have our destination in our hands, we must develop the capacity to control our bodies. So, in order to master our soul, we need to have control over our bodies. And what do I mean by bodies? I mean by bodies that we are referring to the physical, the emotional, and the mental bodies. And people think that increasing information and knowledge accumulated in our mind is equal to the mastery of our mind. I'm sorry, but that is not the case. We can accumulate wisdom, we can accumulate knowledge, but we need to actualize whatever we have learned. And unless and until we really actualize what we have learned, we cannot master anything. We cannot become a master. And there was a man who fed his horse for many years, but never tried to discipline it. And one day he wanted to ride, but the horse threw him off and escaped over the fence. Discipline. He has been feeding his horse his entire life, but he did not discipline it. And this is the situation today for many intellectuals. They feed their body, emotions, and mind without learning how to control and master them. And then one day they are thrown off. We need to discipline our bodies, the physical, emotional, and mental bodies, and then only can we master the bodies, and then only we can go towards our soul. And so remember that control and mastery are two different words, completely different words. So what is control? The control means to have your bodies follow certain rules and live under discipline. This is what control means. And what is mastery? Mastery means to make your bodies live according to your will, to be responsive to your plan and purpose. What is your plan? What is your purpose? That is what is mastery. According to your will, not the wills of the bodies. Your will is different. The will of the bodies are different. And so you can keep your horse trained to follow certain commands, but if you have no mastery over him, you cannot use the horse for your plan and purpose. Mastery is the level of control when the horse actually responds to your every move. Isn't that so true, my dear friends? We feed our horses. Horse, when I say horse, it is our physical body, it is our emotional body, and it is our mental body. So we keep feeding these three bodies, okay, but we forget to discipline them. We forget to discipline our physical body, we forget to discipline our mental body, we forget to discipline our emotional body. And when we finally want some outcome After we keep feeding to these three bodies, when we finally need them to support the will of the soul, it will fail us because we haven't disciplined all the three bodies. So it's not enough to uh, just keep feeding. We need to actually discipline the bodies. So that is where your will comes. When I say your will, it is the soul's will. It is the higher will. It is the divine will. What I'm talking about. Are your three bodies serving the will, or are you being a slave to the three bodies? That is the question over here, my dear friends. So people fill their minds with every kinds of information and knowledge, but do not try to master the mind. Are we doing this, my dear friends? Are we doing this? Are we just downloading all the information, but we are not really trying to master what we have learned? We are not really trying to self-actualize. We are not actualizing what we have learned by applying it in our life, by turning it into wisdom. Are we just downloading information? That's the crux of this class. And a very advanced scientist told that he cannot control his mind and is often swayed by his emotions. He's also added that he cannot control his moods and urges and drives. Just imagine, my dear friends, this is a scientist who's highly intelligent, who's highly intellectual. Okay, then he cannot control his mind. Finally, because he's often swayed by his emotions. So we need to have disciplined bodies. We need to have these disciplined moods and urges and drives. We need to master them. And until and unless we master them, we cannot become a master of our soul. So our goal is to master our instruments, to have mastery over the piano, violin and guitar. Violin, physical body; piano, emotional body; guitar is a mental body. We need to have mastery over our instruments. We have chosen these instruments. We have these instruments with us so that this can serve a higher purpose. We have the physical body, we have the emotional body, we have the mental body. Yes, but how are we making them serve our higher will? Are we surrendering to the whims and fancies of these three bodies, or are we using them for our higher purpose, for the divine will, for the real plan, the purpose, the real purpose? And that is the reason it has become even more important for us to acknowledge the fact that we need to master our bodies. So it is very easy for our bodies to disobey us and eventually make us their slaves. It is very easy to follow them instead of making them follow us. I'm sure everyone has agreed onto this. So it is very easy for our body to disobey us. If I say I have a higher will, higher purpose, and I try to give an order, give a command to the physical body, emotional body, and mental body, it will not obey us sometimes. But it is very easy to follow them. So evolution is the soul of the soul, is our steady progress on the path of control and mastery. When we feed our bodies and discipline them for their own benefit, eventually we will follow their direction and lose our own direction, my dear friends. We keep feeding them. We forget the will. We forget what we have come here for. We forget the divine plan and purpose, and we just blindly go according to the urges and the desires of the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. And finally, we are lost. We are completely lost because we are not disciplining them. So our goal is not only to discipline them, but to master them as well. To shift them towards transmutation, transformation and transfiguration. It is only in transfiguration that mastery over the bodies is achieved. Please get this in your nerves, in your blood, whatever it is. You just have to really understand and assimilate these facts that we are learning today. We need to actualize them. Transmutation, transformation, and transfiguration. How can we master them? Only through transfiguration. And mastery is the ability to align the bodies in such a way that the ray of the soul can control them without any friction and use them to work out the soul's plan. I repeat the sentence. Mastery is the ability to align the bodies, the physical, emotional, and mental bodies in such a way that the ray of the soul can control them without any friction among these bodies and use them to work according to the soul's plan. So we need to align these bodies, make them get together, work for each other. So putting the body on a diet, giving all that it needs, dressing it in beautiful clothes, these are not necessarily a process of controlling and mastering it. Presenting pleasure to your emotional body and feeding it with virtues and various excitements does not mean to control it. You're just feeding it. You're just amusing your emotional body. And feeding your mind with information and knowledge does not mean control and mastery. Physical feeding, emotional feeding, and mental feeding. If you think that these kinds of feeding is called mastery, then I'm sorry. So mastery of the bodies begins when we discipline them to help us on the path of self-actualization. In self-actualization, the bodies renounce their will and identify themselves with our will. When we actualize ourselves, when we align our bodies, when we discipline our bodies, these bodies will renounce their own will and identify themselves with our will. When I say our will, it is the soul's will. We have a lot of work to do on ourselves. We need to work on ourselves in this aspect. And the important points in self-mastery and self-actualization is to understand certain things. That we are not the bodies. We are not the bodies. The inclination of our bodies are different than ours. The inclinations of our bodies are different than ours. We all know what the inclinations are of the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. When I say ours, it is the soul's. So we may follow their inclinations or make them follow us. Now, how are you going to take this teaching, take these learnings into your life and actualize them is up to you, each and every one of you. So our progress in the evolution of our bodies can be achieved when they resign their will and follow our will. And often it is very difficult to discriminate between their will and our will. And this discrimination cannot be cultivated by following them, but by learning how to ride our horses, by disciplining our horses and what to feed them with. So continual and practice and exercise to ride our horse teaches us how to know their will and our will. So we need to have lots of self-observation, lots of riding the horses. Then we will know the difference between what is the will of these three bodies and what is our will. So once discrimination is achieved, then we must work to make our will be absorbed by them. We can carefully study our actions, our decisions, our plans, emotions, and thoughts to see if they are ours or they belong to our bodies. Each and every speech, each and every action, each and every thought, each and every motive that is coming from us, we need to, take this up as an object and examine this. Who wants this? Which body wants this? Is this a soul attribute, or is it this the body's attribute? Physical body, emotional body, and mental body. So that is more important once discrimination is achieved. And we unconsciously adapt to the wills of our bodies and make them our own. And we think their will is our will. And once we are caught in this illusion, we become trapped for a long time in thinking we're serving our goals. Are we? Are we serving our goals, or are we serving the body's goals? Whose goals are we serving? So unless we discriminate between the goals of our soul and the bodies, we may, for many incarnations, lose our spiritual goals and become slaves of our bodies. What is the goal of your soul? What is the goal of your bodies? Are they in line with each other, or are they different? If they are different, then the need is there to discipline them and to gain mastery over them. What is your spiritual goal? What is your physical goal? What is your emotional goal? What is your mental goal? Take a pen and a paper and write down, what are my goals? And are my goals in line with the divine will, in line with the souls, in line with my will to evolve and to grow and in a spiritual manner? Are my bodies supporting me in my spiritual goals, or are my bodies making me a slave to them? And once you feed too much excitement to your emotional body, you cannot control it. If you feed crime and violence to your emotional body and become a criminal, this means you obey your emotional body. And once you feed separatism, fanaticism, and greed to your mental body, it controls you. People control you with their important information and by their hidden motives. They can manipulate you, they can exploit you, they can use you to their own advantage. If you're feeding separatism, fanaticism, and greed, finally it comes back to us. Whatever is happening to us, it finally comes back to us. What are we feeding the mind? What are we feeding the emotions? What are we feeding the physical body? Oh, somebody has cheated me and exploited me and manipulated me. You are feeding separatism. You are feeding fanaticism. You are feeding greed. Whatever you feed, that's what happens to you. So knowledge controls you and makes you work against nature and against yourself. Increasing knowledge can be used by your bodies rather than for yourself. So it is easy to have, it is easy to know, but it is not easy to be. Our knowledge and havingness must not control our beingness. It is very easy to know the process of meditation. It is very easy to have a beautiful sitting area for meditation. But are we meditating? It is very easy to have loads and loads of books with us. It is very easy to know the topics and the various, the education. But is it easy to really be a voracious reader? A person who can assimilate all the wisdom? We have everything, we know everything, but are we being them? Are we being it? Are we into beingness or knowingness or havingness? Which stage are you in? We all need to question these to ourselves, my dear friends. And in living up for our bodies, we lose not only our destination, but also our bodies. By becoming aware of our life's purpose, we become leaders of our bodies and help them to follow the path of their destination. Are you aware of your life's purpose? And are your bodies cooperating with you? Are you living for your bodies or are you living for your soul? And if you identify yourself with your horse, you will never have a chance to be its master. And when your creations become When our creations become our master, we lose the power of our creativity. And when our bodies create for themselves using our energy, we will never have a chance to free ourselves. These words are real diamonds, my dear friends, real diamonds. And through every creativity, we must try to actualize ourselves and make our creativity the means to help the self-actualization of others possible. What are we creating? What are we creating for ourselves and for others? Are we creating self-actualization, or are we being a slave to these three bodies? What are we doing? What are we thinking? What are your motives? What are you speaking? What are you doing? And what are you being? Most important question. So you must not create gods and worship them. You must express your divinity in each of your creations. You must not live for your bodies, for their pleasures. Your bodies must live for you. You must use them to achieve your goals and to cause them to proceed on the way of their perfection. So this is how the evolution goes on. Once upon a time, you were a vehicle of human being. I'm sorry, can
Friends, please unmute yourself.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Once upon a time, you were a vehicle of a human being, but now you have your own vehicles. And the one whom you served as a vehicle helped you eventually to become human. You must do the same for your bodies through wisdom, discipline, purification, and beauty. Wisdom, discipline, purification, and beauty. And if you let your bodies control you, you make them lose their chance, their opportunity to advance. And they have the tendency to go back to their involutionary path. Now, what is involution and what is evolution? So there are two major and natural paths in creation. One path is called the involutionary path, and the other is called the evolutionary path. And how are we going to learn about this? In the involutionary path, the spirit or intelligent energy materializes by passing through 49 levels of condensation until it becomes matter. And in the evolutionary path, matter turns the face towards its source and slowly changes into spirit by passing through 49 layers of fire. In this process, it is based on the whole drama of creation and life. Involutionary is matter, evolutionary is spirit. So we go through both the stages. So involutionary path means the following. It is a tendency towards separatism. There is no effort to cooperate with the divine plan and purpose. While I give out all these points, I would like you to check yourself, are you involutionary or are you evolutionary? If you have any of these 7 points that I'm going to list it down, then you're involutionary. Otherwise, just check if you're involutionary or evolutionary. Please, my dear friends. And there is no effort to cultivate qualities and virtues that will lead to right human relations or cooperation. There is no effort to cultivate qualities and virtues that will lead to right human relations or cooperation. There is deep self-interest, ego, separatism, as if nothing else exists. And in the arc of involution, the spirit proceeds towards materialization. The goal is to be matter. If you're involutionary, then your goal is to be matter. And in the involutionary arc, people live for themselves, even at the expense of others. Goodwill is absent in them, totally absent. And exploitation and manipulation are involutionary characteristics. If you are exploiting somebody or trying to manipulate somebody, whether it in a small scale or a big scale or a medium scale, it doesn't matter. Exploitation is exploitation and manipulation is manipulation. If you're doing this, then you have involutionary characteristics. And in the involutionary arc, fear exists. Hate and anger come into being, and then violence and crime follow, my dear friends. Hate, anger, these things come if you're evolutionary. We all need to go towards evolutionary, my dear friends. And the involutionary process and the evolutionary process are going on in the universe unceasingly. And the spirit is gradually materializing, and matter is spiritualizing. It is the evolutionary process that the spark of the spirit in the form is individualizing and heading towards its source, cultivating the deeper beauty existing within.
Madam, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Your voice is little low. Is there any way you can adjust?
Okay. I'll just check.
Thank you so much.
Is this okay now?
Yeah, I think it should be fine.
Okay. I think if I put it like this, I think you can.
Yeah, maybe. Okay,
Right
thank
now.
you.
Okay, no problem. All right. Okay. So in the human kingdom, the evolutionary process is a process on which the divine light within you begins to show tendencies towards. When you become evolutionary, my dear friends, you will show the tendency towards beauty, goodness, righteousness, joy, freedom, striving towards perfection, and sacrificial service. When you are doing all these things, when you are being all these things, when you're saying all these things, when you're thinking all these things, that means you are in the evolutionary process. Beauty. Everywhere, in everything, you see beauty. In yourself, you see beauty. In this computer, in this phone, you see beauty. In everything and everyone, everywhere, you see beauty. Goodness, you are being good with everything. You are being good to yourself, good to everyone. Goodness means harmlessness. Are you being harmless towards everything and everybody? And righteousness, and whatever you do in the right path. And when can you do the right things? By following your heart, by purifying your heart. You bring joy. You bring joy to yourself and to others. You don't blame, you don't complain, you don't be sad or depressed or anything. You're just filled with joy and love. Freedom. You are free of your own slavery, all the bodies, and you help others become free of themselves, free of all the urges and the desires and drives. Let them master it their own soul. And you strive towards perfection, each and every bit, slowly, 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 taking baby steps, you strive towards perfection. And finally, you do sacrificial service. You sacrifice yourself to be able to serve the will of the soul. That is evolutionary, my dear friends. So evolution for a human being is to bloom with all the potential latent in his beingness, then provide help and guidance to all around him. So, are you in the involutionary process to help and give guidance to all around you, or are you in the evolutionary process to provide help and guidance to all around you? Which stage are you in? And when a person regresses into the involutionary path, he goes through the path of vices, negative emotions, ego, and greed. He wastes his time, energy, and achievements and falls into an animal and jungle psychology. And it is a total degenerative process in which he loses his individualization, his identity. He turns into matter and eventually loses his soul himself. Because when you're involutionary, your hatred, your anger, your jealousy, your greed, your animosities, your revenges, everything comes up. So if you're doing all that, then you lose yourself because you completely become matter. You are matter. So on the involutionary path, people live for themselves at the expense of others. Once the evolutionary path, people, they live for others, subordinating their interest to the interest of the whole. So now we need to check ourselves. Are you involutionary or are you evolutionary? Are you living for yourself at the expense of others? Or are you living for others, keeping their interests in mind? And as human spirits ascend, they become conscious of time and space, and their horizons become vaster and vaster. And they develop the wisdom of their sources, the power of their source, and eventually space vanishes for them. They become omnipresent. So they slowly become seed and then become matter. And then they try to become spirit. And this is the first crossing between matter and spirit, and the beginning of the endless conflict between spirit and matter. The breakthrough happens when the seed awakens. And then the spirits build their bodies, my dear friends. After the involutionary process happens, we think that we believe that our emotional bodies, mental bodies, and souls are inbuilt. They're not inbuilt. We build them step by step. We build them, my dear friends. So then the spirits build their body stage by stage into astral and mental matter and try to act as agents of spiritualization of matter on the physical, etheric, astral, and the lower mental planes. So the first the physical body is built, then the astral body, the emotional body is built, then the lower mental body is built. And the higher mental planes formed by matter that has shifted itself from the involutionary to the evolutionary path. We build our bodies, my dear friends. We construct them. We construct ourselves. And once an individual builds his higher mental vehicle, the refinement and progress of all cells and atoms of his bodies begin. Everything begins at that stage. And then you become complete master of your soul. So those beings or intelligent currents of energy that still wants to be materialized form a hindrance on the path of evolutionary people. If you're evolutionary, then these kinds of intelligent currents of energy who are still in the involutionary stage form a hindrance to the evolutionary people. And this is how the concept of dark forces comes into existence. This is called as dark force. And those who oppose evolution become the enemies of evolution. And they do all that is possible to stop or delay the evolutionary process. And there are many millions and millions of entities who want to remain in the material form, limited in matter and living for matter, by matter and of matter. Are you one of them? Are you one of them? Such entities are organized on all levels to stop the evolutionary movement. They are considered an evil force and that does not follow the cosmic law of progress and spiritualization. And they commit every kind of crime to stop the process of freedom from matter and material values, to limit joy and beauty, to prevent goodwill and righteousness, and to refuse sacrificial service. Are you one of them? And the whole conflict is between these two, involutionary and evolutionary. So aspirants, disciples and initiates, adepts and masters and Johans are resurrected ones. You know, they have evolved from the involutionary to the evolutionary path. They have tread on the path of love, light and beauty. And to rule in the universe does not mean to subordinate others. It means self-construction. You sculpt yourself. You create yourself each and every second. How are you constructing yourself? What is the goal of your construction? How do you want to sculpt yourself? That is the question. And people ask when life started. How can we ask such a question when we do not even know what we mean the word life? So rather we must ask if life is conscious, and if it is conscious, does it have a beginning and an end? And how can our consciousness have a beginning and an end if the beginning and end cannot exist without a consciousness? Isn't it so funny, my dear friends? It's very funny. It's so funny, so funny, so funny that we can actually laugh for an hour. So a really conscious person is the whole of humanity, is the whole of nature, is the whole. He does not achieve for himself because he does not have a separate self. He does not have a separate self. He is inclusive. He takes everyone into consideration. He thinks for all. He talks for all. He acts for all. That is a totally conscious person. And are you a conscious person? So in the universe, nothing begins and nothing ends. Also, as nothing can be found, nothing can be lost. We cannot lose anything to find it. It's all within us. Nothing begins, nothing ends, nothing is found because nothing is lost. Nothing is lost. So mastery is a state in which you are aware that all exists without a beginning and an end. And in one or the other planes, in one or the other forms. Form is a frequency that we see. If the form changes its frequency, it still exists, but we do not see it. So this something begins for us when it is visible. This something ends for us when it becomes invisible. As simple as that. So ending and beginning, if it is visible to us, it is beginning. If it is not visible to us, it is the end of something. As simple as that. So now we come to the qualities of the soul. This is very, 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 very important, my dear friends. I come to the final conclusion of this. So what are the qualities of the soul? There are 8 qualities, my dear friends. And if you possess these 8 qualities, you are a soul. The soul is always reoriented to group interest. The personality is for his own ego. When he shakes hands with you, he thinks of what he can get out from you. When he does some favor for you, he expects a reward for it. And the soul interested in the group's best interest. He says that even if he's going to lose, the group is going to gain. He says, let me do it so that the group, the organization of the humanity gains. This is the battle between the personality and the ego, my dear friends. What do you do when you're personality? What do you do actually when you are a soul? And when we say group, we can refer to any group of people, any organization, any great nation, all of humanity. The whole human race is a group. And those who are souls in a group, they think in terms of the interest of that great group. Are we thinking in terms of the great group or not? Those who are personalities, they think in terms of how they can use this great group for their own advantage. For their own advantage. They can take advantage in any way. If you're doing that, then you're still personality. You're not yet a soul. You're not yet spiritual. But if you're thinking in terms of the group and everything, if you're being inclusive, then you're a soul. The whole of humanity is a group, my dear friends. The whole of humanity is a group. And the soul is inclusive. This is the second one. He does not leave anything out. His thinking is inclusive, his feeling is inclusive, and his action is inclusive. And even if it does something physically, it must be something that is favorable for all. If he feels something, he feels everything is his feeling. If he thinks something, it is for the group. If he thinks he thinks for all of them. If he thinks something that is only separated, he discards it. Any thought comes that is separated, he discards it. Are we entertaining separatistic thoughts or are we entertaining inclusive thoughts? And he has thoughts, emotions and actions that are always inclusive. The personality is not inclusive, it is exclusive. We and you and them. Separatism. We, and this is we, this is you, that is them. And we will take them and their positions because we must enjoy life. What about them? Who cares about it? That is the personality. I don't care. I don't care what happens to them. I really don't care. I really don't bother as long as I am enjoying my life. The soul is inclusive, my dear friends. And the third part, if you can see the child who is giving something to the poor people, the water, what is she being over here? She is being considerate. She is being considerate. And one of the greatest qualities of the soul is consideration. When a person is not considerate, he's a personality, I'm sorry. And if he is considerate, he's a soul. If I do this thing, what will happen to others? That is being considerate. If I go to 1 a.m. to visit one of my friends, that is the personality. If you are a soul, you will say, they are sleeping, I must not do that. How considerate are you being? Considerateness is one of the qualities of the soul. If I drink this way, what reactions, responses will I create in that woman, that man? Let me consider. Let me consider. But if you say, I don't care, even if I come naked, so what? This is a democratic country, I can do whatever you want. You're not considerate. Why are you not considerate? Because you're not a soul yet. You're a personality. Simple. Everything is in black and white, my dear friends. There's no gray area. And the next quality is beauty. The soul always acts in beauty. His actions must be beautiful. His emotions must be beautiful. His motives and plans must be beautiful. But the personality does not care. The personality hurts your feelings, hurts the emotional body, hurts the physical body, hurts the mental body, destroys it, uses it, throws it out. He does not care. He does not care. So are you beautiful? Are you beautiful? Are you being harmless? That is the personality. And then the soul always obeys the foundation of justice. Let us say someone gossiped about me. Now let us take the soul reaction. Soul reaction. This is a soul reaction, my dear friends. Watch your life. You did something wrong. Okay? Yes, I did something wrong. He does not care what she's doing to him. He cares how he's going to react. He said, yes, I did something wrong. She gossiped about me, but I can demonstrate love and respect and go and tell her, thank you very much. You are right in saying these things. And I myself beg your pardon. That is a soul reaction. How many of us react like this? If someone gossips about us. A personality reaction says, who is that talking against me? I will gossip and use malice and slander and crush her. That is the personality relationship. Then the soul is joyful, my dear friends. The personality is gloomy because everything scares the personality. He has things, he may do things, he has love, he may attract hatred, he's big, he's small, he's everything. But for the soul, there's no small. The soul does not increase or decrease. He is. He just is. He's just being there. And he's always joyful because physically, emotionally, and mentally, he is not affected. Because all the bodies are aligned and all these bodies are working according to the will of the soul. So that in that way, he is not affected. He emancipated, liberated himself from these three things, these three bodies. That is why he is joyful. And the soul has courage and daring. The personality defeats himself through the false liberation. And in any difficult time, you see immediately whether that man is a personality or a soul. You can immediately see. And if he is a personality, he attacks the difficult problems as a personality and he defeats himself. He goes into depression from a sense of failure and gives up. But the soul is always courageous. His power is his courage, his daring. He knows that no matter how much he has, he can gain it again and again. How much he has lost, he can gain it again and again. But a personality will go into depression. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, I've lost it. Nothing is lost. So actually, the soul does not have a sense of failure or loss, because immediately he withdraws himself from his physical, emotional, and mental natures and relaxes in nirvana, in bliss. And then the soul strives towards perfection. Personality strives to have, to feel, to possess, and to manipulate. The soul strives towards perfection, and the personality strives to have, to feel, to possess, and to manipulate. Then we have 3 stages of activity that can determine where we are. There are 3 stages. We need to know which stage we are in. Stage 1, when we react to light, we are in the personality. This is the first stage. Physically, emotionally, and mentally, we have reactions of hatred, jealousy, revenge, vanity, separatism, and so on. This is the stage 1. And this is all personality. We are reacting as a personality. And the second stage, then we react sometimes as a soul and sometimes as a personality. We create a mess. And in times of difficulty, we do the stupidest things. We talk nicely, then we curse. We dress beautifully, but we are stagnated inside. That is stage 2. And the stage 3, in this stage, there is soul reaction. When you see any action in life, when you're doing anything in life, catch yourself. Am I here as a soul or a personality? Or do I mix it like a mule, half like a horse and half like a donkey? So finally, I end this course, end this program saying that mastery of the soul is achieved when you master your personality. Build the bridge between your personality and soul and cross to the other side. Make your spiritual triad. When you master your physical, mental, and emotional bodies, you become the spiritual triad over there. This is a spiritual triad, my dear friends. If
What a great knowledge she shared with us. You know, how we have to be, how we really develop ourselves from exclusiveness to inclusiveness, from 3 bodies to soul. Really, really wonderful wisdom. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand. We will try our best to answer from our organizing team. Yeah, we have 2 of them. Nazir sir, can you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Yeah. So, yeah. Actually, I just want to ask. I mean, not a question, like kind of suggestion. To Parinita madam, because it's a wonderful session. Yeah, because today I learned 2 new things, like 2 new words: evolutionary path and involutionary path, and you're able to discriminate which path you are. And I feel because I feel inclusive, and I feel like I'm in evolutionary path, because wherever I can, I'm helping the people, or being kind, or being inclusive. So yeah, so I just wanted to ask a question, or get a suggestion, basically. Like if we want to apply, or if you go to the workplace, right? There is a people still in involutionary path, people in a greed, and people in a like with personality qualities we just we just learned about. in evolutionary path, right?
Mhm.
So I'm looking for a suggestion how we we are in an evolutionary path. So how we can get how we can cooperate, or how we can start doing with working with people like evolutionary path, how to handle our if we apply these two words in the workplace. So I just wanted to ask or get a suggestion. So.
Yeah. So that's a wonderful question, sir. But we have to remember that, we cannot change others. So only the
Yeah.
and only the mastery is only on ourselves. So that's the thing, right? When we are with ourselves with the full 100%, like, with the soul qualities, automatically the other person will receive definitely love. I mean, first time, second time, they will be ignorant with their greediness or anger, whatnot, right? Because they are not aware of themselves. That's
Okay.
the reason
Yeah.
they behave. So when we realize we are being more compassionate towards them, we are being more lovable towards them, so that their actions are not affecting us. So
Hmm.
slowly we have to develop the qualities. That's
So
what I.
maybe we as a in the evolutionary path. Okay, I got the answer. So maybe we as an evolutionary path. So we maybe we still have stages as we just learned, right? So maybe we need to move to stage 3.
Yeah, and the
So
practice definitely helps, sir. So it's I mean, it's a mastery. So it takes time,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but being aware
Got it.
is the key. And yeah, meditation will definitely help to achieve that. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
got it. Thank you.